Japan is a country in constant motion. But where are people actually going? Today, we are diving deep into the brand new 2025 Internal Migration Report. We're going to uncover which cities are booming, which ones are shrinking, and some really surprising trends that are shaping the future of Japan right now.
Hello, this is Japanese Economic Review Channel.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big picture numbers. Then we'll zoom in on the prefectures to see who's winning and who's losing. From there, we'll focus on the major metro areas. And then break down the really interesting differences between Japanese and foreign movers. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with the key takeaways. All right, let's jump right in. First up, what's the overall story of population movement in Japan for 2025? So let's start with the most basic question of all. Just how many people are we talking about here? How many people actually packed their bags and moved to a new part of Japan last year? Wow, look at that number. Just under 5.2 million people. That is a huge number of people moving between different cities, towns, and villages in a single year. It's a massive national reshuffle. Okay, and this is where the story gets really fascinating. You've got two completely different trends happening at the same time. On one hand, the number of people moving within Japan actually dipped a little bit. But on the other hand, the number of people moving into Japan from overseas, that jumped by a pretty significant 6.3%. This contrast is a huge theme we're going to see throughout the data. So we know that millions of people are on the move. The next big question is, where are they all going? Let's drill down to the prefectural level. Yeah, let's get right to it. In this massive national shuffle, who are the winners and who are the losers when it comes to population? And here we have it, laid out plain and simple. Tokyo is just, wow, it's a magnet. It pulled in a net positive of over 125,000 people. That's incredible. Osaka and Chiba are also seeing some really strong gains. But then you look at the other side of the coin. Prefectures like Fukushima, Niigata, and Omori are seeing the most people leave. The trend is crystal clear, isn't it? The pull of the major urban centers is stronger than ever. Okay, since the action is so clearly concentrated in the big cities, let's zero in on the three major metropolitan areas that really power Japan's economy. This chart just paints such a vivid picture. I mean, the Tokyo area is in a totally different league, pulling in a net positive of over 123,000 people. It's just staggering. The Osaka area is also in the green, which is a great sign for them. But then there's the Nagoya area. It's actually in the red, with a net outflow of more than 12,000 residents. So it's a really mixed bag for Japan's biggest economic engines. Now, this next part is, I think, one of the most crucial pieces of the puzzle in this entire report. The story changes dramatically when you separate the data between Japanese nationals and foreign residents. Just take a look at this. For Japanese movers, the trend continues downward. It's actually been decreasing for 8 years in a row now. But then you look to the right at foreign movers, and it's a completely different universe. A huge surge of 9.5%. That's the highest number we've seen since they started tracking this back in 2014. We're literally looking at two powerful forces moving in completely opposite directions. And speaking of big shifts, get a load of this little tidbit from the report. This one is genuinely historic. For the first time in, wait for it, 53 years, the Osaka metro area saw more Japanese men move in than move out. That's right, over half a century. That is a massive trend reversal, and it tells you something really significant is changing about Osaka's appeal. So this table helps us see who's driving the change in these big metro areas. Look at Tokyo and Osaka. Their growth is coming from both sides. They're attracting both Japanese and foreign residents. But then you look at Nagoya, and you see it's losing people from both groups. That tells you its challenge is pretty broad-based and not just tied to one specific demographic. All right, so we have looked at a ton of numbers. Let's step back and ask, what's the bottom line here? What are the big stories the 2025 migration data is telling us? So if you're going to remember just a few things, remember these. First, Tokyo is still king of the hill, no question, but its pull might be weakening just a tiny bit. Second, keep an eye on Osaka. It's really gaining momentum. Third, the Nagoya area is facing a real challenge trying to keep its population. And finally, and this might be the biggest story of all, international migration is no longer a footnote. It is a major, powerful force shaping the demographic landscape of Japan. You know, this data isn't just a report card on the past year. It's a roadmap to the future. And it leaves us with a really important question to chew on. As these powerful population currents continue to flow, which regions in Japan will be able to adapt and really thrive in the years to come? It's definitely something to watch. Thank you for watching the Japanese Economic Review. We look forward to having you with us again.